Hello YouTubes, by the end of this video I will have one entire loop of track laid and powered on my new layout, and I'll be christening it with a new locomotive. If you're new to the channel and my new layout, I will be using Atlas Code 83 Flex Track. It's the one with the nickel silver rails and the brown sleepers. Now, I was a bit confused at first because I didn't see any holes in the sleepers for putting track nails through. But my good friend James at Dundas Junction said, "Turn the track over, Dave." And sure enough, there are holes interspersed every 4 inches, and they don't go all the way through. So it's pretty neat. If you just want to glue your track down, you won't see the nail holes. However, I'm going to be using the nails for two reasons. One, I'm going to lay this entire loop with the nails rather than glue because I kind of want it adjustable, shall we say. And obviously if you glue it down, you have to tear up the glue. And also, once I am happy with it and I've got all the track down, once you ballast it and then put the glue over the ballast, that's going to hold the track down anyway. So we really don't need to glue it down. So where am I going to start? I'm going to start right there. Now, I temporarily laid this piece of flex track here because I wanted to line it up with my bridge. As you can see, I have a hinged lift bridge there. Now, I am going to take it up to about this point here, approximately 6 inches before it starts curving, and I'm going to cut it here because I'm going to put in some rail insulated rail joiners, because I need to install a sort of kill switch at the bridge so that when the bridge lifts up, there'll be micro switches underneath. It'll cut the power to this section, so any train approaching from this side will hopefully stop before it gets to the bridge, and I'll do the same on the other side. Remind me in case I forget. So let's mark where we're going to cut. Let's say, it doesn't really matter, just give it plenty of room. Let's go there. So I'm going to cut this bit off, and then I'm going to join that section onto the next piece of flexi track and have that going hopefully all the way around the curve. I don't want any joins, or I don't want many joins on the curve, and when I do join, I will be soldering the joins because you don't want any weird kinks when it's going around the bend. Right, let me cut that and solder that section on to the other side. And obviously we're going to have to get some power into this as well. Now, everyone has their own special way of cutting track. I'm actually going to use a pair of these gigantic cutters. I just find them really easy to use, lots of leverage, why mess about? First thing I need to do then is cut away some ties. Now, I've already marked the track there. So I think what I'll do is cut away these two here. And that should leave me enough space to get the rail joiner in. So let's cut it there and there. Only two bits to cut, and then you need to break it off because it's held on with its little rail spikes. I'm going to use my Stanley blade. What did I say? Forgotten already. Yeah, these two here, okay. Now we can pull that off. Don't throw these away. We can use these later to disguise the fact that we've made a big giant gap. Right, snips. And the other side. Don't worry about them being offset like that. That was fully expected. Now, this is the section I want to use because I've already angled the rails to match up with the lift bridge. So for this side, which suddenly doesn't look very even, yeah, I'm going to snip it down a little bit more on this rail. Yep, that's better. And then I'm going to use my little grinder just to get rid of all the rough edges. And I just like to run my finger over the top, make sure there's no nasty bits of rail pointing up the way. That seems pretty good to me. So let's grab one of our insulated rail joiners, because that's what's going to be going on at this point, and make sure it slips over. I'm going to use two, just in case. Lovely, plenty of space. I'm not going to foul up any of the sleepers. So that's actually ready to install and get some power. Oh, except for one more thing. At the moment we have 1, 2, 3, 4 little holes for nailing the track down. I want more than that. There's no harm in having a few more. Bear in mind it's going to get covered in ballast anyway. So I'm going to swap my grinder out. I have a tiny little drill attachment. Hey, if you want one of these, this was a gift for me, by the way. But if you want one, you can find one in the link below. I'll leave a link for Amazon, so you know where to get it. It's really good. Rechargeable, USB rechargeable. It's great. And it comes with some nice fine drill bits. Right, let me drill some holes. That should be enough. Now I've done 2 close to each edge because that's the most important part to line it all up. Right, I want to get this nailed down where I want it and get some power to it. Before I nail this down, I want to line it up roughly where it's going to go. I'm going to mark a couple of holes for where the wire feeders are going to be. Always a good idea to check under your layout to make sure you get access for the wires. Yeah, I've got anywhere along here is fine. So let's go with, doesn't really matter, just wherever, just there and there. So my feeders are going to come up and hook onto the sides of the rails and solder them there. The reason I do this without the track in place is you're always in danger of damaging your railway ties when you drill down between them. Now you may notice I've got a gigantic drill bit. Specifically got that because the last time I was doing that I kept on, because I've got like 1.5 inches of foam and 1/2 inch of plywood, you know, you're really getting down close with the drill. So I thought, just take away that problem. Just get a big long drill bit, and I know it looks really wide, but you're going to fill it with ballast anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So that actually goes way down to there, so you would need a drill bit at least that size for this job. So this is an investment, because buying single drill bits a wee bit pricey, but it's going to get put to work. Lovely. So now we're going to be lining this up. The 2 holes are at either side of those railway ties. So now I can nail this down. Because I've got lots of extra holes in my sleepers, I can use plenty of nails. One more little tool I need to go and grab. This is one of those little Allen screwdriver things. You get them in packs in the dollar stores, but I'm going to use it as a little hammer chisel to get in close to the nail so that I don't risk damaging the rails. Right, these will mostly go in by hand because we're just going into cork and foam. If you do get to the stage where you're going into plywood, then one of these is ideal. Right, I want this as close as possible and perfectly aligned. So that's a wee bit close. Okay, I'm good with that. Lovely. Right, let me get the rest done. Excellent. Our first bit of main line track is laid. Suppose we better get some power into it. So I have a couple of nice long dropper wires, but I'm not going to put them through the holes yet because I'm going to put some solder on the edge of each rail, and it would be much easier to do when there wasn't a big wire in the way. So everyone's got their own techniques. I'm putting a bit of flux in there, either side. Get my solder now nice and hot. Not too hot though. Let's see if we can get some solder in there without melting the little ties. That should be enough. Same on the other side. Lovely. Right, now we can get our wires up. Nicely, before I do that, I'm just going to clean where I've got the solder, or where it's gone beyond where I want it for now, because the flux can be quite, not the flux, the flux, it can be quite corrosive, so you kind of want to wipe that away as much as you can. Obviously, once you've got your wire soldered, you might have to do it again, but we'll see. Right, let's get these wires up. There's one. That's the white one, so I've got them the right way around so far, because I want the red wire, well, it's white with a red mark. I want that on the outside rail. There he is. Okay. Strip these back a little bit, and I'm going to just bend a little 90-degree angle in them right at the tip. And that should hook into the bottom part of your rail. And I'm going to use, let's see, a pair of tweezers just to hold it in place. So that should go right in there. Bend it round the right way, that will help. Does not want to sit in the right direction. Stay there. Let's get a wee bit more solder. looks good to me. Let me get the other side done. Awesome. Our first bit of main loop track is laid and wired for power. So I just need to add a couple of, oh, the plugs are already on. So I need to add some plugs to the other side on the bus bar, and then we can plug these in and then test it. So that's my two feeder wires coming down, going to the main bus wires. Don't worry, I'll be tidying that away. At some point, I just want to make sure everything works first. So let's test out our new bit of track. I always like to test my DC Locos first. They're a lot cheaper to replace than the DCC. Right, let's see then. Forward. Success. And back again. And my join seems to be nice there. No clicking whatsoever. On to the next. So this is the section I cut off of this in the first place. And this end here will be getting soldered onto the next section of track. However, if I was to solder it like that, and then I bend it, then I risk messing my first join. So what I'm going to do is put this in its isolated connectors just now, bend it round, and I'm going to trim off just a little bit at that end so that it's flat. I also need to I need to mark where my wires are going to go. Because if I solder the dropper feeder wires down here, then I don't have to add another power connector until a way around that bend, because this is going to be attached all the way. So let me slot these in. These connectors don't allow it to go in as much as I would like. Quite a large gap. It'll be fine, it'll just might be a wee bit clickety clackety. Anyway, so let's go for the power feeder wires there and there. Now you might notice this is actually quite far out. I'm doing this on purpose, and it'll be the same with this line when it comes out. It's going to be a wee bit further out because I want these quite far apart for the bend so that my big rolling stock, long passenger coaches, that kind of thing, don't bump into each other. So let's try and keep those rails where they're supposed to be. Just bend this round roughly where it's going to be. They're still in line, and I'm just going to mark that end of the rail that I'm going to trim off. Okay, and then once we solder that together, the inside rail will still move, so that's not a problem. Right, let me trim that and solder on the next section. Okay, let us get these connectors on and try and get these rails as level as possible. I'm using brand new connectors just to make it nice and tight. Just got to trim that tiny little bit of railway tie off, otherwise my connector's not going to go in as close as I would like. So this is the side that's going to get attached to the track I've already laid. So it might pop out there temporarily, but don't panic. As long as we can get these nice and level, that looks good there. Then we can pop it back in the other side when we reinstall. That looks pretty good there. Let's get some flux along there. Same on the other side. Obviously you don't want to be soldering on the inside of your tracks. That's how disasters happen. What I might do actually, I wonder if I could get, no I can't. I was going to put a clamp on that, but I don't have room, so we just need to be careful. I think all I've done there is put solder on top of the connector. I don't think it's actually joined anything. It's good at that side. Need to be a bit overlap there. That looks nice. Get this side done. Oh, almost. Lovely. Really don't want to be having your iron too close to these, or you melt your sleepers. Let's give that a wee clean up. Make sure we've not done any permanent damage. I think we're good. Yeah, so that sleeper's a wee bit loose now because it got just a little bit hot. I think it'll be okay. Now I notice we don't have any holes in the sleepers there now for attaching our little nails. So let me quickly swap this grinder over. We'll get a couple of fresh holes in there. Lovely. We're ready to go and drill the holes for the wires before we put this on. Unfortunately, those 2 points I marked to drill the holes for the droppers, they actually line up with this beam here, which goes all the way along. So I have opted to change the droppers to there, which is in line with them. So I'm just going to solder the wires directly to these. Save me trying to do it way over there. So I'll bring you back when that's done and we can lay this track. Okay, let's hope I've got the wires in the right places. Red on the outside. Oh, it's got a long way to go down there. There's 2 layers of foam, so 3 inches of foam, half an inch of wood. Which is why I got that big giant drill. Come on, find your way. Okay, looks good. Finally get some nails down. Trying to keep that lovely curve. So this rail here is going to be about 1/4 inch to the right of centre, which should give us hopefully plenty of space between this track and the one next to it. Hallelujah, our first bend is done. Next will be fairly long straight from there, so that should be fairly straightforward. Need to get the dropper wires on this, and of course we need to test it again. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch me test every section of track, just every second section of track, no. I'll test this and then we'll see where we are at that point, okay? Plugs. Okay, more messy wiring is done. Don't worry, I'll tidy it up. Right, this time I'm going to go with my favoritist DCC Loco. Make me proud, don't fall off. Come on, go a bit faster, I've got a whole layout to build tonight. Okay, we're approaching the isolated section. Well, that is the isolated section. That's beyond the isolated section. Soldered section. Coming up to the end of the track. Oh, maybe a bit fast. Manual braking. Okay, bring it back. Why's your light not on? There he is. All wheels still on the track. Yes, they are. Excellent. And manual stopping again. Oops. Wow, that was close. Lovely. Why are the lights not on? I'll just switch the lights on. Oh, no. 5. Oh, need to change it to forward. Ditch lights. Yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, I'll fire on with the rest of the track. You don't need to watch it every instant. I'll bring you back when we're doing the very last join, okay? And then that'll be it. See you in a bit. Okay, folks, we are almost done. So every section of flex track, if it's on a bend, it's been soldered. And regardless, every section has got a wire dropper feed. Hey, I've been up all night, I'm tired, okay? But it's all powered. And I've got my turnouts in for the future lines. So all that's left to do, attach these two sections. That shouldn't take long. We just need 4 connectors. Like so. Join that one there. Join that one there. Now, track pins. Getting excited, we're almost there. Now, this section is crucial that we line this up right. Looks good about there. Oh, that's nice. Right, let me get the rest in. I think we're done. Now, I know that looks like it's sloping out, because it is. It has to slope out to prepare for the bend. Again, so my coaches, long goods wagons don't hit anything. I'm just going to put one more pin in at the end. Okay, happy. Oh, by the way, I did modify my little alignment dowels. I took your advice, chopped up a ballpoint pen, clicky click pen, and put actual springs in it. The only downside at the moment is it's not closing because, you know, springs, but that's okay. I've got a couple of magnetic catches on the way, should be here today. So for today's experiment, hand of God, it's going to hold the bridge down, but that's fine. It is lining up lovely. So I will tidy up this disaster area and then it'll be time for the big reveal. My new train on my new layout. See you in a minute. That's better. Nice and tidy. Now, let's see what is this new Loco that's going to have the honours of the debut run round my new layout. I finally got myself a Go Train, which is a local company to me. And I got this from James for a steal. Thank you very much, James. It was DCC ready, but as you know, I have some spare decoders, so I threw one in, and that is what's going to make its way around my track. Well, hopefully it's going to make its way around my new track. Isn't that lovely? I don't think I've ever had a true line train before, so I hope they're good. Looks good. Anyway, enough waffle, let's get on the track. I tell a lie, I have yet to put the decoder in this. I've not even run it. I think I put it on a tiny bit of track to make sure it worked, but it's not really seen any action. So, here we go. Now we know the bridge works, but it's whether or not this makes it all the way around and back to this point. Let's find out. Nice and quiet. Going to need a bit of a run in, I think. Looks lovely though. If you're local to this area, let me know if this was, well, let's see, no, it says Government of Ontario Transit on the back. So I'm guessing this hauled passenger coaches, but I don't know what they looked like. I don't think it was the big double deckers that the new Go trains haul. So let me know, because obviously I'll be in the hunt for some passenger coaches for this. Anyway, so far we don't have any problems. Crossing my giant number 8 turnouts here. No problem at all. Moment of truth is coming up though. We're going to get across this final turnout and across the bridge for the first time ever. Yes, great success. Ah, wonderful. Happy chappy. Now, obviously, still got a long way to go, and I've not added the super elevations around the bends. I wanted to make sure it made it round without adding to it. And it should be quite easy to do that. I can slip them in underneath because it's not glued down. There's enough flex in the pins just to lever up the curves a little bit. But it means we can run trains and work in the inside of the track. 2 weeks without running a train. I don't know how some of you guys can do that. Working in your layouts for years before you run a train. No, thank you. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. We can slow down a bit now. I just really wanted to get at least one loop up and running by this weekend, and we have succeeded with your help. I'm out of breath. Should really get some more sleep. I think I've had 4 hours in the last week, so whew. Take care everyone. See you soon. Awesome.